So you want to hang a gate, you're going to need a hinge kit. There's a lot of them. How do you decide which hinge kit's right for you? How do you set it up? And what are some tips and traps along the way that'll make your gate hanging a much easier experience? So let's start out with the big gates, anything over 6 foot, like this great Australian-made 12-foot gate. What hinge kit should you get for this? Well, there's a couple of choices. Let's go through them. For most large gate applications, whether they be steel posts like this situation or timber posts, you're going to want a bracket that goes through the post. There are also, of course, for some steel post applications, weld-on pins and weld-on sockets that you can purchase to hang your gate, but that does require some ability to weld in the paddock, and it can create a fire hazard if you do it at the wrong time of the year. For this video, we're just going to stick with assemblies that you can use a drill set and a shifting spanner to install. For timber posts and 12-foot gates, there are two main choices for hinge kit. The first is your heavy duty choice, and this requires you to drill 4 holes, 2 for the top and 2 for the bottom. You can get this kit with a range of latch options, which we'll go through later on. This is a really good kit if you're running heavy livestock like cattle or horses. The second choice is a drop hinge kit. This requires half as many holes, 1 at the top and 1 at the bottom. It's super quick to fit, really convenient, and ideal for most everyday farm uses. If you're going to get one of these kits, make sure that it's heavily galvanized like this one. Now, before we start marking and drilling holes, we need a nice straight line that's 90 degrees exactly up and down the post to put all of our marks on. For this, you can either use a level or a bit of string with a weight attached as a plumb bob. Just wait, let it settle, then put it up against the post and mark your straight up and down line. Now, the first part of the gate kit that we need to fit is the bottom gudgeon pin, and this will allow you to set the height of your gate. So make sure that you've got this hole exactly where you want it for where you want the final gate to be on your post. Some people like the top of the gate to match the top of the post. Other people are more concerned about lowering the gate to minimize the amount of gap, particularly if they've got small animals, dogs or horses that can get their legs stuck under gates. So get the height of the gate right for your application and have a good think about it, because as soon as you drill this hole, you've set the height of the gate. Position one of the nuts and washers at the end of the gudgeon on the threaded rod. This is going to give you two-way adjustment when you've finished. Make sure the gudgeon's straight up and down, then tap it a couple of times with a hammer, and that'll mark where you need to put your short hole. You might need to tap at home. Next, you're going to want to locate this bit of the hinge assembly called the top strap, and it holds the top of the gate up against the post, and this is also adjustable with a threaded rod. Now, you're going to want to locate your top strap on the panel that's been stripped out for you. You'll notice that there's part of the gate mat missing here to give a nice smooth action. You don't want to put your top strap too high up in this panel. You want to have it low down so that if an animal tries to lift the gate off the gudgeon or it gets hit, the gate won't pop off the lower gudgeon. In this case, when you measure from the bottom of the gate to the center of the top strap, we're going to want to drill our holes at 880 millimeters above the top plate on the bottom gudgeon. Next up, you're going to want to measure where you drill your holes, and they need to be 25 millimeters out from the center line on both sides of the level mark that you just made. Next, you're going to want to set your gate. So have one of the nuts about halfway onto your top strap with one washer. Locate your top strap. Set your gate on the bottom spigot, then push the gate into your top strap, push the top strap home, and do up your nut. Then you can put another washer and nut onto your top strap from behind, and then slowly screw the gate up, getting it level. Or if you've got one of these things, finally, use a magnetic level on the top of the gate to get it nice and level. Perfect. Now I've installed this gate an inch or two higher than normal. The reason for that is what's under my feet. I've got heavy roots and a bit of an incline that I'm not able to level the ground out on. So the ideal gate height is really determined by the application, the use and the location of your gate. But there's a couple of things to bear in mind. The first is the top of the gate should be somewhat equivalent to the top of your post. In this case, it's a little high because of what's under my feet. And the second thing is watch your gap underneath the gate if you have horses or other livestock that are likely to go underneath it or injure themselves. Speaking of injury, it's a good idea to cut off the ends of your top strap and your bottom gudgeon so that they're not protruding out into the fence line and animals and people can't get themselves injured by getting caught on them. Cut them off with about 10 pieces of thread spare. If you do need to trim the threaded rod, my suggestion is to leave at least 10 threads spare so that you've got a bit of room to adjust the gate over time if your end assembly happens to move. Now, a lot of people will get a hammer and bruise the end of the threaded rod to make sure that the nut doesn't come off. But that can be a real pain when it comes to taking the hinge kit off. Instead, get a punch or similar and just bruise 1 or 2 threads in one spot. You can easily undo this with a file and then you can reuse your whole hinge kit later on somewhere else when you pull this fence out, because you know you will. And if you're using a drop latch kit, make sure you drill your bottom hole 50 mil above where you want the base of the gate to be, because that's how much it drops down. If you're one of the many people moving towards steel end post kits like this, then a drop hinge kit just makes sense. Not only are you maintaining adjustability, but they're really, really strong, especially if you get a kit like this that's hot dip galvanized. Not only that, but there's being only one hole to drill, the smaller diameter 80mm posts are not a problem for these sort of kits. Next up, we've got kits for small gates of 6 foot and under, like this personnel gate. When it comes to these little kits, the main difference is in the bottom gudgeon. You can either get a screw-in style, which is really strong in timber posts, and you screw this in about 30mm or 1.25 inches below where you want the gate to hang to, or you've got the drop latch style here with 2 holes that you can screw onto the post with smaller screws, or you can weld onto steel posts. So steel is an option with this kit. Today I'm going to be using the screw on or weld on kit called the FG15 because I've only got light stock and it's only a small gate. It also has another advantage in that it allows me to drill holes up higher out of the dirt. Once again, mark your post for plumb. With this kit you can use the plate to mark your holes. Top tip, lube your holes. Put both your bolts in first before tightening up. You notice your top strap's flat, so go in at an angle with your drill. Now that you've got your bottom gudgeon fixed and your top holes drilled, fit the gate to the bottom gudgeon, then put your top strap on and screw your bolts into place. This is where it's really helpful if you have someone to help you. Fit the strap backstop, push the strap up against the post and then fit the other bolt. If you fit the gate straight to the plumb line on the post and you do up the bolts firm but not too tight, the gate should swing freely without any squeaks and squeals. With the gate fitted, that brings us to the latch kit. Now there's a few choices here, so let's quickly go through those. You've got the pin and loop kind. Some people swear their horses can undo these. Then you've got the drop latch kind. These have a little tab on them that positively locks closed. And then you've got the screw-on, weld-on style, which is perfect for steel posts. Now, where should you put these things? Either way you look at it, no matter what kind of latch you use, they're basically steel spikes. So you don't want them protruding into the gateway to injure you or livestock. no matter how well rounded the design is. So what we're going to do is we're going to position them almost 90 degrees to the gate opening on each side of the post. Now it doesn't really matter if you have your loop on this side or that side. My main preference is to have the loop away from where you are normally, because that means that you can grab the chain most of the time. Now with your holes all drilled and lubed, all you need to do is get something as simple as a screwdriver to increase your leverage and drive the bolt home, or set of pipe clamps, because not only will they help with this part of the gate latch assembly, but they'll help with the chain end as well. Much faster than a shifter. So with the right kit, there's no need to be worried about hanging a gate. Just have a good look at the pack, choose the style of hinge and the type of latch that's best for you. So send this video to someone who can't hang a gate.